Yeah, Joshua posted that video on his Snapchat the other day, didn't he? You know, of him doing a bit of boxing training, you know, in a burger shop in America. You know, that area that he's in there, yeah, some gangster area called Crenshaw. Yeah, you know where Nipsey Hussle's from, you know, where he got murdered. That's a gangster area, you know, full of Crips and that. It's a gangster area, yeah. A tough area in America. So, you know, Joshua, he's there and he needs to be around that kind of environment, you know. You know, Eddie Earn said that he's on a little holiday in America, but I think he should just stay there, you know, and just be around those kind of hostile environments, you know, those kind of gangster Crip areas. You know, I know Tupac and Nipsey got murdered, but Joshua's just got to take the risk, hasn't he? He's just got to risk it, hasn't he, Joshua? You know what I mean? He's got to put himself in those tough environments because he's just surrounded by a load of yes men, innit? It's not working for him, is it? Yeah? Because Joshua's getting too soft now, isn't he? You know, after the Ruiz loss. You know, and we seen that in there with Usyk as well, didn't we? You know, he looked a bit scared, he looked a bit on edge, he looked a bit frightened of what was coming back. You know, he was kind of scared, wasn't he, of a little cruiserweight Joshua. So he's got a bit soft, hasn't he? You know, he came out to Rocky as well, didn't he, Joshua? Which made it even worse, didn't it? It's like, you know, if you're going to come out to Rocky, you know, at least put on a fucking Rocky type performance. Don't come out to Rocky and then start being all fucking bitch-like, you know, and just all scared and really on edge at being in there with a cruiserweight, you know what I mean? Don't come out to Rocky and then put on that kind of performance. So he's got a bit soft on it. So, you know, being in these kind of gangster areas, these kind of hostile gangster areas, I think it will benefit Joshua, you know, because he's, you know, they say you're a product of your environment. So it might be a good place for Joshua to be in, man, because he's with too many yes men, innit? You know, going to them dirty gyms in America, them tough, gritty gyms, those hot, sweaty, hostile gyms, you know, in America, them dirty gyms. I think he should go to one of them, you know, because he's training with Robert McCracken, you know, some amateur trainer. You know, he's training with an amateur trainer and he's got all these yes men around him. Robert McCracken shouting, yeah, Joshua, brilliant. You know, you're behind on points against Usyk and you're getting fucking messed up and humiliated, but brilliant, Joshua. You know, these are the kind of guys that Joshua's got around him, hasn't he? AKA Skins. You know, those kind of muppets. Fucking AKA Skins. He's fucking useless, isn't he? Yeah, you know, AKA Skins. He like stands outside of random houses, you know, and he takes a photo of it, don't he? And he like puts it on his Instagram saying, yeah, I've just bought another house. You know, trying to make out like he's some big time property mogul. You know, he's trying to get more pussy, innit? He's trying to get more pussy, innit? AKA Skin. So these are the kind of fucking muppets that Joshua's around all the time. You know, playing chess with him, and, you know, they let Joshua beat them at chess, don't they? You know, just to make him feel good. You know, Joshua needs to go to them tough gyms in America. You know, Lennox Lewis, you know, when he got fucked up by Oliver McCall. Oliver McCall was trained by Emmanuel Stewart at the time, so Lennox Lewis approached Emmanuel Stewart after that fight and asked him to train him to beat the man who Emmanuel Stewart helped prepare to beat Lennox Lewis. You know, so Lennox Lewis went to the Kronk gym, you know, and trained in those tough, hostile gyms. You know, where people are probably going in there to spar with him to try and knock him out, you know, and mess him up. Yeah? So, like, that's what Joshua needs, don't he? He needs to be in those kind of environments. You know, those tough American gyms in the ghettos. You know, he's fucking punching these little silly machines. You know, at these sports science, Olympic, medal, amateur gyms in Sheffield. You know, these little modern day gyms, he's hitting these little stupid machines, isn't he? It's not good enough, is it? He needs to go to a tough gym in America. You know, obviously the Kronk gym, you know, that's kind of where Tyson Fury's at now, innit, with Sugar Hill Stewart. You know, but Tyson said that he'd train Joshua, so maybe he could go there. But I think Tyson's just saying that in there just to try and belittle Joshua, wasn't he? You know what I mean? And say, oh, you're not doing well in boxing, are you? So I'll train you and I'll make you better. So I think he's doing it just to try and patronise Joshua, innit, Tyson Fury. Yeah, to try and humiliate him. So he's not being serious, is he? But Joshua needs to go to one of them gyms, you know, like Lennox Lewis did. And become tough and fucking really get that tough streak back and be around a load of gangsters, a load of Crips. I'm not saying you have to get involved in gang activities and stuff like that, but just, I don't know, you know, hanging around with Graham Norton and all that, it's not helping him, is it? Why is he going on the Graham Norton show? You know, he's trying to like cross over to like gay men, you know, and old women, but why do you need to cross over to that kind of demographic? You know, hanging around with Graham Norton, it's not going to make you a better boxer, is it? You've already got money, so you don't need to sell more pay-per-views. You've already got the bag. Now it's all about the legacy, innit? So, you know, hanging around with Graham Norton and laughing at his shit jokes and, you know, all that fake smiling business, all these little silly punching machines and all, it's all fake, innit? Joshua needs to go to a tough gym in America. He's in America now, innit? So he needs to stay there and just find a tough gym. And that might be what he's doing in America. He might be trying to scout a new trainer, you know, in America. You know, after he's seen Tyson Fury doing well, you know, after kind of getting trained by Sugar Hill Stewart, Emmanuel Stewart's nephew. So Joshua, he might have finally thought, you know what, Robert McCracken, he's not all that. You know, he's a fucking amateur trainer, and he hasn't really produced anybody. You know, he trained Carl Froch, but like I've said before, Carl Froch is Polish, isn't he? And you know, Polish people, I used to work in Amazon, and like the Polish people in the factory, they were like the hardest workers. You know, all the English people, they were just fucking messing around. But you know, the Polish people, they were grafters. And they worked the hardest, you know, in the factory. So Carl Froch has got that kind of DNA on it, that Polish, tough, determined DNA. Yeah, like the Polish people in the factories in Amazon. You know, Carl Froch has got that on it. So Robert McCracken didn't really teach him anything. Carl Froch had things that you can't really train. You know, a trainer can't teach you to be disciplined and hungry and determined and have heart. You can't really train those kind of things. You've either got them or you haven't. You know, a trainer can teach you how to throw a jab. Yeah? But Carl Froch really wasn't that good, was he? But he had things that you can't really train, and that made him good. Heart, ambition, hunger, discipline. So that's why I became a world champion. I won't really put it down to Robert McCracken. So I think Joshua's starting to realise this now, and he's in America, in a gangster area, a Crip area. Yeah? Crenshaw. Yeah, that's where Nipsey Hussle got murdered, you know, by a Crip. So that's a gangster area, innit? It's near Compton, you know, where Suge Knight's from. Yeah? You know, those kind of areas. It's what Joshua needs. It's what Joshua needs, innit? He's had it too easy, man. He's had too many fucking muppets around him. You know, when Joshua was selling drugs back in the day and he was a criminal, he was a bit tougher back then, wasn't he? You know, when he fought Dillian Whyte and Klitschko. He had a mean streak, didn't he? He was a bit tougher back then. But now he's kind of lost it, so he needs toughening up again, man. You know, by going to a tough gym in America. It's like Mayweather. You know Mayweather, yeah? Mayweather said that, you know, when he was a kid, he said that his dad was holding him, yeah? And Mayweather Jr.'s mum's brother shot Floyd Mayweather Sr., you know, when he was holding Mayweather Jr. You know, and Mayweather Jr. said that, you know, it kind of caused him to have a bit of post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, and you can tell, you know, by the way he was really determined, you know, to do well and make that money, you know, and move out of those kind of dirty areas, them kind of criminal areas, you know, and get security, have a load of bodyguards protecting him, you know, because he had that post-traumatic stress disorder after seeing his dad get shot, you know, when Mayweather was a kid, you know, and it kind of like spurred him on, you know, and made him determined to make that money, you know, and get out of those kind of areas and be secure, you know, with a load of security and all that. Yeah, that's what Mayweather said, didn't he, in an interview. So I think Joshua, he needs to be around toughness, you know, grit. Yeah, Mike Tyson, you know, when he was in like Brooklyn, he had that fucking killer instinct, didn't he? And you might say, yeah, but when he went to go and live with Costamato, you know, in a nice middle class white household, you know, that's when he was kind of at his best. Even though he was in like a nice privileged household. But you know, Mike Tyson, he said to Joe Rogan, you know, that Costamato, he used to like brainwash him, you know, and hypnotize him and tell Mike Tyson that he's going to be the greatest heavyweight ever, better than Ali. Yeah, the greatest heavyweight in history. That's what Mike Tyson said, didn't he, to Joe Rogan? He said Costamato used to brainwash him and tell him that he's going to be the best heavyweight ever. So yeah, that's, you know what I mean, that's kind of what caused Mike Tyson to do well. Even though he like moved out of the rough areas, he still had it in him, didn't he? He said that he had a pigeon, you know, and this fucking bully like got his pigeon and like ripped his head off, you know, the pigeon's head. And Mike Tyson went mental and messed him up. So yeah, Joshua being around that, it might make him a bit tougher because he's kind of turned into a little bitch, hasn't he? You know, he's scared of little cruiserweights, isn't he, Joshua? He's not what he was. Even like when he came up to me. Yeah? You know, when I went to his gym and he came up to me and he tried to like tell me to get out of his gym, you know, I could see in his eyes, you know, that he didn't really want to do it. But, you know, because he had people around him, you know, his little yes men, they were saying to Joshua, there's that guy who was talking about you in his videos. That's him there. So, you know, Joshua, you know, the peer pressure. Joshua felt like he had to respond, you know, so he came up to me and he was stood there looking at me and he said to me, get out of my gym, you know what I mean? But I could see in his eyes that he didn't really want to be approaching me. He didn't really want to say it. You know, it was peer pressure. I could see the fear in his eyes. I could tell that he didn't really want to do it. But you know, the peer pressure, trying to impress his little fucking groupies, it made him do it. But I could see fear in his eyes, man. He's not the same man that he was. You know, when he was selling drugs and he was in there with Klitschko and he got knocked down a few times and he got up and just fucked up Klitschko, you know, with that uppercut. So yeah, Joshua needs to get back to that, don't he? So he's got to stay in America, you know, in those gangster areas. But saying that, I don't know, like Joshua, you know, being in a tough spar got him fucking concussed anyway, didn't it? And that was like the start of his downfall, wasn't it? Because after that concussion, he got fucked up by Ruiz. And then he just went all soft, didn't he? He was like really on edge, really scared and that in his fight. So I don't know, being in a tough gym in America and having tough spars, it might fuck him up even worse. You know, if he gets concussed again, I don't know. So yeah, I don't really know what's best for Joshua, I don't know. Maybe he's just fucking lost it, hasn't he? You know, when Naz went to Emmanuel Stewart, Naz had gone downhill by then, didn't he? But I think Joshua would benefit, you know, from being in a tough American gym. You know, similar to the Kronk gym. You know, Emmanuel Stewart, you know, he kind of turned Lennox Lewis's career around, didn't he? You know, and he got him to make Oliver McCall cry, didn't he? You know, that's partly down to Emmanuel Stewart, isn't it? So Joshua needs a trainer like that, don't he? You know, Emmanuel Stewart, you know, he's tough Kronk gym, you know, he used to like turn up the heating, you know, like Dave Caldwell. Yeah, he used to turn the heating up like Dave Caldwell, Emmanuel Stewart. So, you know, that hot temperature, it would have made it harder, you know, for the boxers to train. So they would have been more conditioned, you know, to extreme environments. Being in a hard boxing match, it would have kind of prepared them a bit, you know, and kind of made them a bit tougher, you know, being in that hot gym. But, You know, if the gym's really hot, you know, and the boxers are sweating it out, you can become dehydrated, you know, like Tommy Hearns. So like you've got water around your brain, yeah. So, you know, if you're dehydrated, and like Tommy Hearns, he used to like get weighed, you know, on the same day. He was like 6'3" and he got down to welterweight, getting weighed on the day, having tough spars, you know, having a hard fight with R.I.P. Hagler, you know, and his brain rattling all over the place. That's probably why he's kind of punch drunk now, Tommy Hearns. He's kind of slurring his words, in it. You know, Gerald McClellan, he's fucked up as well. So I don't know, you have to get the balance in it. It's, you know, so Joshua going to a tough gym like that, you know, Joshua's brain's already been concussed on it. Joshua's brain's already been rattled on it, you know, from that tough spar before getting fucked up by Ruiz in the first fight. So I don't know. You know, it's kind of hard to know what's best for Joshua now, isn't it? I think he's just gone too corporate, you know, and he's just about the bag. And it's making him soft, you know, hanging around with Graham Norton and all this fake smiling bullshit. Trying to be a poet. Some days are rough, some days are tough. Yeah. Don't let success get to your head or failure get to your heart. You know what I mean? He's trying too hard to be a poet. You know, if Joshua was more concerned with beating Usyk than being a poet, you know, he would have beat Usyk. No, he probably wouldn't, would he? He probably wouldn't, man. He probably won't win the rematch either. So he's kind of fucked, innit, Joshua? He's kind of messed up, innit? He's got the word wisdom tattooed on his arm, innit? Wisdom. But I don't know, he didn't really look that wise in there with Usyk, did he? You know what I mean? Like, where was the wisdom there? There was no wisdom. He's got to get that tattoo removed, honey, Joshua, because it's not really reflective of him, is it? He's got to get that tattoo removed, honey. It's a bit contradictory, isn't it? It's like when he was sat on Nipsey Hussle's memorial. You know what I mean? Like, you know Nipsey Hussle, yeah, he got murdered by this snitch called Eric Holder. Because Nipsey called him a snitch, and then this fucking snitch went and murdered Nipsey Hussle. So Nipsey Hussle doesn't like snitches, yeah. And he got murdered by a snitch. And like, you know, Joshua's a bit of a snitch, you know. Like, you remember when he got his sister, you know, to send me that threatening legal letter, you know, trying to threaten me with legal action, saying, "Good afternoon. I would like to request that you delete the video posted of Anthony Joshua. It promotes violence. Please ensure this is removed in 24 hours, otherwise it will be reported to the police, and I will endorse legal action is taken against you." So Joshua's a bit of a snitch, innit? You know, trying to threaten me with the police, you know what I mean? It's a bit snitch-like, innit, Joshua, acting like that. So Joshua, he's a bit of a snitch, you know, so I don't think Nipsey also would approve of, you know, Joshua sitting on his memorial. You know, I don't think Nipsey Hussle would have approved of it. He wouldn't, would he? Crenshaw. That's where that film Boys in the Hood was filmed. Good film, that, innit? Ice Cube. I like those gangster films, you know, them American gangster films. I like them, you know. So, you know, Joshua, he needs to be in those kind of areas, don't he? You know, Coogan met Ice Cube, didn't he? In America, and then Coogan like came back to England, you know, trying to act like a gangster. You remember when he bullied Prince Patel?
Fucking cave your head is.
What a pussy.
Fucking cave your head is.
What a pussy.
Fucking cave your head is.
What a pussy.
So, you know, Coogan like hanging around with Ice Cube, it kind of made Coogan think that he's about that life. So I think Joshua being around people like that, you know, being in them kind of areas, Crenshaw, Compton, South Central LA, you know, in some dirty boxing gym there, I think it'll benefit him, man. Because Robert McCracken is just like an amateur trainer, isn't he? He's got all these silly machines in his gym, all these little scientific, modern, fucking stupid machines in his gym. Yeah, Joshua needs to go back to the old school, man. Go to a tough American gym, man. In a dirty ghetto somewhere in America. Crenshaw, Compton, South Central LA. Yeah, Michelle Hall Phelps is from LA, isn't she? She's from LA somewhere, isn't she? Hall Phelps. Yeah, she thinks she's J-Lo, don't she? She tries to like be on J-Lo's level, don't she? Hall Phelps, but she's not on her level at all, is she? It's not even close, is it? Michelle Hall Phelps is not on J-Lo's level in the slightest, is she? She's nowhere near that level, is she? Yeah, she's quite nice, isn't she, J-Lo? She's about 50 years old as well, you know. I think Hall Phelps is about 40. I think it was her 40th birthday the other day, but even though J-Lo is older than Hall Phelps, she's a lot nicer, isn't she? I don't know why Hall Phelps thinks she's on that level. She's not on that level at all, is she? Not at all. But yeah, that'll do, you know. I think I'm going to wrap it up. But thanks for tuning in again, yeah? Thanks for that.